Good evening, everyone, to the March meeting of Central Goldfields Shire Council. Welcome to our virtual gallery and welcome to our gallery. If I could get everyone to stand up, please, for the acknowledgement of country and the council prayer. Thank you. I would like to start the meeting by acknowledging and extending my appreciation for the Dja Dja Wurrung people, the traditional owners of the land we're standing on today. Today, we pay our respects to leaders and elders past, present and emerging, for they hold the memories, traditions, the culture and the hopes of all Dja Dja Wurrung people. The council prayer. Almighty God, we ask you to be present in this council. Direct and guide our deliberations. We ask you to grant us wisdom and sensitivity as we deal with the business of Central Goldfields Shire. May each decision that we make advance the well-being of all our residents. This we pray. Amen. Please be seated. Moving on with our agenda, we have no apologies and no leave of absence. Councillors, do we have any conflict of interest, please? Councillor Meadows-Taylor.
Yes, Madam Mayor, I declare conflict of interest on 8.3 enabling tourism fund. The conflict of interest being that as of Friday's meeting of the World Heritage Listing Steering Committee, it was agreed that the application for that grant will go through the Victorian Goldfields Tourism Executive, which is part of a partnership with the 15 LGOs. I'm chair of that board, so I will declare conflict of interest in leave.
Thank you, Councillor Meadows-Taylor. Confirmation of minutes from the previous. Oh, any other conflicts of interest? Sorry, Councillor Murphy.
Of course, there is.
Sorry.
8.4, the Regional Sports Fund, fund or grant for the Merritt Outdoor Pool. My company is contracted to the Merritt Outdoor Pool. And the urgent business at the end is there's a variation of the price of the tiling job at the MSLC, Merritt Sports Nation, and my company is the contractor for MSLC.
Thank you, Councillor Murphy, and again, my apologies. All right, moving on to confirmation of the minutes from the previous council meeting, which was held on the 27th of February. Councillors, do I have a motion to accept these minutes, please? Councillor Murphy, seconder. Councillor Lavella, all those in favour? Against? Motion is carried. There's no minutes of delegated and advisory committees, and we have no petitions, so I'm going to move straight on to item 8, officers' reports, and item 8.1, which is Every Child, Every Chance strategic outcomes, on page 15 of our agenda. Do I have a motion, please, councillors? Councillor Sproul, your motion?
Thank you, Mayor. Move the officer's recommendations that council endorse the Every Child, Every Chance strategic outcomes to guide future planning, investment, advocacy activities and measuring progress with regard to children and families in Central Goldfields. And 2, that council write to the relevant state and federal ministers to advise of council's endorsement of the Every Child, Every Chance strategic outcomes and seek further funding support for the initiative.
Thank you, Councillor Sproul. Councillors, do I have a seconder to the motion? Councillor Lovett. Councillor Sproul, would you like to speak to your motion?
The Every Child, Every Chance aims to address the issues of disadvantage in our shire. The saying, it takes a community to raise a child, fits this initiative perfectly. By encompassing children aged 0 to 8 with all the services and support available within the shire, Every Child, Every Chance addresses key areas of disadvantage present within parts of our community. This initiative was developed by Go Goldfields, which to date has not secured ongoing funding from the higher tiers of government, which is extremely disappointing. By adopting the strategic outcomes from Every Child, Every Chance, this gives council a strong strategic foundation for future planning, activities, and investment in children and families. The strategic outcomes will also provide a solid base to support future grant applications and advocacy for programs, data sharing and evaluation. The strategic outcomes include: number 1, early years systems in Central Goldfields are appropriately resourced, children and families centred and support local decision making. 2, that Central Goldfields has accessible, quality, every child, every chance services, with engaged early years workforce, working collaboratively together to support children and their families. 3, Central Goldfields parents and carers are resourced, supported and empowered in their parenting. 4, Central Goldfields children have all the supports they need to thrive. 5, Central Goldfields is a child and family friendly municipality. The Every Child, Every Chance strategic outcomes are informed by 574 voices of children and families engaged in the Let's Talk About Parenting survey, which interviews and focus groups in 2021. Go Goldfields then hosted 10 stakeholder workshops, 2 for each priority area. These brought together service providers, teachers, practitioners, and program leaders working in the Central Goldfields Shire to collaborate on the approach. Formally endorsing the Every Child, Every Chance strategic outcomes developed through this process will demonstrate its importance to Council's vision and support efforts for ongoing advocacy, investment and measurement.
Thank you, councillor Sproul. Councillor Lovett, would you like to speak to the motion?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. By definition, it's quite obvious that children are integral to the success of Go Goldfields. Go Goldfields is a program started by this council that has been going for over a decade, as Councillor Sproul said, with the aim of battling disadvantage within the community. And a decade down the track, all the statistics are heading in the right direction, and we're seeing significant educational gains amongst our young people. By council endorsing Every Child, Every Chance strategic outcome, we can go to both state and federal government seeking the necessary funding for this very worthwhile program. So I implore my fellow councillors to vote in favour of it. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, councillor Lovett. Would any other councillors like to speak to the motion? No, if not, I'll put it to the vote. All those in favour? All those against? The motion is carried. Item 8.2 on page 25, Talbot Future Sewerage Structure Plan and Business Case. Councillors, do I have a motion? Thank you, Councillor Meadows-Taylor.
Thank
Your
you,
motion.
Madam Mayor. Predictably,
Predictably.
that's one. I'd like to move a motion along the lines of the officer's recommendation. That Council 1, note the Talbot Future Structure Plan Engagement Report, October 2023. 2, adopt the final Talbot Structures Plan, November 2023. 3, endorse the Talbot Futures Sewerage Scheme Business Case, March 2023. And 4, continue to advocate for funding from both state and federal government to obtain the funding required for delivery of affordable sewerage provision for the residents of Talbot as detailed within the Talbot Futures Scheme Business Case, March 2023. And 5, commence work on a planning scheme amendment to implement the adopted Talbot Structure Plan into the Central Goldfields Planning Scheme.
Thank you, Councillor Meadows-Taylor. Do I have a seconder for the motion? Councillor Sprout. Councillor Meadows-Taylor, would you like to speak to your motion?
Thank you indeed, Madam Mayor. I think there are a few more exciting things that we do as councillors other than when we develop, are part of developing plans that create a better future for our communities. And this is one of these. This is about a future for Talbot. And I've made it clear to those in our community that if we don't do this, we will be, all of us will be older, fewer of us and poorer. That's the reality of it. And the statistics show, it's just not my observation, the statistics show us that. And if you look at the figures from the gold rush, there has been a continued population decline from those days. This changes it around. This is transformational change. This gives Talbot a future, but also importantly for our Shire, provides an important growth opportunity. This enables so many facilities in Talbot that are underutilised to be able to be utilised better. This is a winner in all respects. But this has had important ingredients of success. It's been based on meaningful community engagement and consultation. And I congratulate the community residents, so many residents who've had direct input in this and enthusiastic input. It was actively led by consultants and by our own officers, and indeed a lot of credit due to that leadership and that the strategic planning that ensured that success. But obviously sewerage is a key part of this too. Talbot cannot grow without sewerage. We've known that for years. And finally, I'm grateful to the Victorian government for the funding and to the CEO and others who helped secure that funding to enable that work to be done as part of Talbot Futures to actually do the detailed sewerage work, and our partners in Central Highlands Water for actually managing that process. Importantly, sewerage needs to come, but we have the business case now to show that with that investment can be well placed, and the community assets that we have will support that investment and create a positive business case. Importantly, though, it needs to be affordable. That's pointed out here, and I really do hope that as we go forward, we will do our best, which I know we will. We'll have the support of Martha Hayden MP. I call upon her for her continued support to this, to the Victorian government, the Commonwealth government, that we can do the best deal possible to ensure this is absolutely affordable. There will be a cost to residents, but we need to make that affordable in terms of the options and the ways that they pay for this. But this is about a bright future for Talbot. This is exciting. This is good, but it's an important part of our shire, an important part of our population growth strategy. And it is a winner on all fronts. Thanks, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Meadows Taylor. Councillor Sproul, would you like to speak to the motion?
Thank you, Mayor. From first being elected, Talbot's always had a focus for councillors that has so many opportunities for growth. The work that's been put into the Talbot Futures by the Community Council and by Councillor Meadows Taylor is commendable, and the vision for Talbot is extremely bright. The extensive work done on planning for sewerage and the structure plan gives Talbot an excellent foundation, and I look forward to seeing Talbot grow.
Thank you, Councillor Sproul. Any other councillors wish to speak to the motion? If not, I'll put it to the vote. All those in favour? All those against? The motion is carried. Moving on to our next item, 8.3, Enabling Tourism Fund. Thank you, Councillor Meadows Taylor. Councillor Meadows Taylor is leaving the meeting at 13 minutes past 6. Councillor, do I have a motion for 8.3, Enabling Tourism Fund?
So moved.
Councillor Lavella, your motion is?
I would like to move a different motion that was published, and I move that council, number one, commits $4,000 from its 24-25 budget to support Victorian Goldfields World Heritage Enabling Tourism application, with a further $4,000 in the 25-26 continued implementation and to enable the development of feed tourism infrastructure. Number two, notes the inclusion of the Castlemaine Maryborough Rail Trail in the World Heritage Bid Master Plan, which will identify and provide a better business case for further investment, including the substantial amount required for the implementation of the CMRT. Number three, and this one is different, the council commits $20,000 from its 24-25 budget and $20,000 from its 25-26 budget to the Castlemaine Maryborough Rail Trail Enabling Tourism Fund application, and if successful, auspices the grant and leads the project management.
Thank you, Councillor Lavella. Do I have a second for the motion? Councillor De Villiers?
Mayor,
Yes, Councillor Murphy?
I want to foreshadow a motion that the recommendation, if motion does not get up, if this motion does not get up, that the current recommendation for 8.3 is voted on.
Thank you, councillor Murphy. Councillor Vella, would you like to speak to your motion?
Certainly would, thank you, Madam Mayor. The Industrial Revolution, which sustained our Shire's economy for decades, has gone. I ask you, and what else do we have into the future to sustain us? Tourism. Tourism is the future of this Shire, and we are the heart of Victoria, centre of goldfields. Rail trail tourism is a new economic stimulus for rural regions. Most rail trails generally have a gradient of approximately 3%, therefore cater to all mobility devices. I have heard our concerns seriously. I watched last week. The concern of $40,000 is this open-ended. It is not open-ended. The $40,000 required for the CMRT Enabling Tourism Fund application can be divided over 2 financial years. And they were the ones I outlined, which 20,000, 24-25 and 20,000, 25-26. The final payments are not due until December 2025. This is the release or acquittal date. Another concern, statements of being unscientific, questions over financial assumptions. A project management plan, including costings, was developed and offered to both councils on March 6 via email. They are fully costed, including project management. This will not be project managed by CMRT. The complex and extensive costings have been prepared by experts and based on actual quotes from specialist providers, and there's 9 mini projects north. They are practitioners who work in the field and indeed have worked on many similar projects. Their figures are robust, valid and current. There has been suggestions to CMRT for the staff that they could be a consortium of consultants with a lead consultant to project manage the experts. That's a hypothetical. There's maintenance concerns. Maintenance costs won't be incurred until at least 2029, as this is the absolute earliest the trail will be built. Costs can be offset, and this, from talking to many, is the way to go. Look at other shires. What are they doing? Bass Coast Rail Trail, for example. The economic value to them is enormous. Businesses and accommodation providers alike. Economic development in other shires show that business models have been rolled out across Australia and overseas to cover not only maintenance costs, but upgrades and enhancements. And I have many references if required. There are also opportunities for other government grants for maintenance. Other trails secure grants from state governments for maintenance is part of a big gov policy. Federal MPs, departments have indicated there are grant opportunities for construction and offsets for tourism. The farmers, that was one concern. Part of the next stage is a thorough consultation with all landholders whose property abuts the rail line. Evidence from other trails is that farmers who were initially fearful have now found a rail trail to be a wonderful experience and in some cases have opened up businesses. And there's a reference, the Rosewood to Tumbarumba Trail completed in 2020. The Cairn Curran section of the trail concerns about flooding. If the trail is deemed unsafe for any reason, the authorities would temporarily close the trail as they do with roads temporarily in the event of flood and fire. Concerns about getting cross-road crossings. Safety is paramount. This is the responsibility of Vic Roads and part of the $120,000 of the next stage. Part of this stage is to work with all the lead authorities, including Vic Roads, to work out issues around road crossings and safety, which has occurred with every one of the 47 rail trails in Victoria. Lilydale to Warburton Trail, as an example, crosses the Warburton Highway at least 4 times traffic travelling at 100 k's per hour. There's 70 letters of support. 2 federal parliamentarians, 2 state parliamentarians, our Honourable Mayor, Elizabeth Long, a letter of support, Bendigo Regional Tourism Board, Judge Warong, most sporting clubs, every service club between Maryborough and Castlemaine, 2 in Maryborough, 1 in Carisbrook and 2 in Castlemaine, most schools and a raft of businesses. Regarding community support, CMRT have raised $30,000 as of today. They are expecting another 2,000 to come, and I'm sure there will be more. Bendigo believe in this project. They have pledged $20,000 grant. However, should we not support the Enabling Tourism Fund grant application, this is also dead in the water. What do we tell the businesses who totally believe in this project, who have donated generously? CMRT have taken considerable donations from hospitality and accommodation providers. This project aligns with number 1, our tourism strategy, sitting at number 4, walking and cycling strategy, 10-year priority project plan, Council Plan 2021 to 2025, Recreation and Open Space Strategy 2029. So in conclusion, we need to take a considered approach here. What is the cost long term if we deny ourselves this opportunity? What will be the reputational damage to council? Can we afford to take that risk? Our job as councillors is to look ahead with a long-term vision, make the hard decisions, enabling us to progress economically into the future. And as our Mayor quoted recently, short-term pain for long-term gain. The capital will never come if this stage is not completed. This project will be dead in the water. I urge you, councillors, to consider this as an extraordinary opportunity for our shire and its development into the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Lavella. That was very insightful. Councillor de Villiers, would you like to speak?
Thank you. I have not prepared such a long and informed speech as my colleague, Councillor Lavella. That was impressive. Thank you, Councillor. All I would like to say is that I think as a council and as a shire, we are very fortunate to have such a dedicated and amazing group of volunteers advocating for a rail trail that we all know and it's been proven will benefit everybody concerned. And I believe it will be very short-sighted not to support this initiative. And I have to add that getting to know the committee, that I believe they will be successful in their quest. So good luck to you with this effort and initiative. Thank you, that's all.
Thank you, Councillor de Villiers. Would any other councillors like to speak to the motion? Councillor Lovett, thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. It's a requirement of the Local Government Act that as a councillor enters the chamber, they must have what's called a clear mind. They mustn't come into the chamber with their mind already made up. They must listen to the arguments and make a decision accordingly. And I can assure you that's exactly how I felt when I walked into the chamber. The Castlemaine Maryborough Rail Trail is a very exciting proposal that will bring undoubted significant tourism benefits. However, I'm really conflicted. Involvement in this program comes with ongoing implications for both the finances and resources of council. Council have just commenced the 24-25 budget process. And it's clearly obvious after 2 meetings that we are facing significant financial constraints. 8 years of rate capping have finally caught up with us, and this has seen our reserves disappear. The upcoming state budget is expected to take the scalpel to all areas due to their $170 billion debt, and local government will not be immune. I've weighed up all these factors as I've been sitting here to my fellow councillors. And having said what I've said, there is a saying that you have to be in it to win it. And quite honestly, I've come to the conclusion that we need to be in the game. I will be supporting this proposal.
Thank you, councillor Lovett. Any other councillors like to speak to the motion? Councillor Murphy.
Like Councillor Lovett, I'm conflicted. I do support the Castlemaine Maryborough Rail Trail. I think it's a great idea, and I've lived in places where we've had rail trails. The $4,000 is towards the Victorian Goldfields World Heritage Listing. The bid is with 15 local governments, including Ballarat, Bendigo and Mount Alexander, etc. And 6 regional tourism boards, plus Indigenous groups. This will achieve substantial Commonwealth and state investment. I don't believe we're denying ourselves of this rail trail. The Castlemaine Maryborough Rail Trail will be developed as a stronger business case as part of a much wider statewide initiative. The World Heritage Listing should be achieved by 2028, and this rail trail will be part of that. And we're going to have a much stronger way of getting the grants, getting the money to do the rail trail without, most likely, council's money. Much stronger, much stronger. I do not understand that we will get the same outcome, the CMRT, if we put the 40,000 in there. Why do we need to put 40,000 in now over the next 2 years when the outcome will happen with the World Heritage Listing, and that's supposed to be done by 2028? I just see an anomaly here that we're jumping the gun too much, because this $500,000 over here is ready to go now. Now, there is council officers' times. It can be all done in this 28, 29. There's money coming from the World Heritage Listing. That could all be done. I just don't understand why we're jumping now where we are doing it anyway with the World Heritage Listing. Thank you.
Thank you, councillor Murphy. Would any councillors like to speak for the motion? Councillor Sproul.
Thank you, Mayor. This is a tricky one, because there are obviously arguments, very much so on both sides. You know, my ADA article a couple of weeks ago was about council's very tight budget. In saying that, it is $20,000, you know, or commitment of $40,000 in total, with $20,000 over 2 financial years. In regards to Councillor Murphy, I see the point in aligning it with the World Heritage bid, because obviously that will then create better, you know, have the opportunity to get better funding, but also note the timeline for expenditure that the rail trails presented to us in regards to what those steps kind of need to happen in regards to cultural heritage due diligence, the ecological due diligence, discussing with farmers, so on and so forth. So, I think I'm in favour. It's very tricky.
Thank you, councillor Sproul. Councillor Lavella, you have a right of reply.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Yes, it is difficult for some people, I do believe. We do have a tight budget. That's without saying. But we cannot afford to let something that will enhance our economic dollar into the future go. World Heritage bid, to me, that's a hypothetical at the moment because I haven't seen it. 3 years we've been talking about the World Heritage bid. I'm still waiting. We have got something now. We've got something now we can hook, put our hat on and work toward. Well, if 4,000 towards World Heritage list, sure, that's fine, go. Business case, well, a business case has been done for the Castlemaine Maryborough Rail Trail. They've got project management plans, robust project management plans. They've done a lot. They've worked through it all. So I cannot understand why no councillor would talk against this motion, or why any councillor would talk against this motion when there's such an opportunity, an extraordinary opportunity in front of us.
Thank you, councillor Lavella. That concludes the debate. I'll now put it to the vote. All those in favour? All those against? The motion is carried.
Can we have a division, please?
Calling for a division. All those in favour? Councillor Sproul, Councillor Vella, Councillor Long, Councillor Lovett and Councillor Villiers. All those against? Councillor Murphy. Thanks, Ms Little. Noting that Councillor Meadows Taylor has re-entered the meeting at 6:32 p.m. Ms Little. Moving on to the next item on the agenda, which is item 8.4, Regional Sports Community Infrastructure Fund. We have a conflict of interest. Councillor Murphy is leaving the meeting at 6:32 p.m. Councillors, do I have someone to move the motion, please? Councillor Sprout, your motion is?
To move the recommendation that council supports, council supports applications to the state government's Regional Community Sports and Infrastructure Fund, $3 million for the Maryborough Outdoor Pool Complex and $1 million for stage 1 of the Deledio Recreation Reserve Pavilion project. And 2, approves co-contributions up to 2.5 million through future borrowings for successful applications as part of the 2024 to 2025 annual budget.
Thank you, Councillor Sproul. Do I have a seconder, please? Thank you, Councillor Lavella. Councillor Sproul, would you like to speak to your motion?
Look, this is a great opportunity. If this grant fund bid is successful, we could see 2 priority projects funded with a reduction of projected borrowings, which is a bonus. We all know our outdoor pool is in need of a rebuild, which is extremely costly. Our current grant application to the federal government is $4 million with $4 million borrowed. This grant would enable us to lower our projected borrowings from $4 million to $1 million for this project. This would free up borrowing capacity, which can be used to help fund other priority projects, such as the Deledio Reserve identified in the report. We have numerous other big ticket items, but the Deledio Reserve project would be best suited to this. The project would be a stage 1, which would see a modular prefabricated structure used. If successful, this would see the change facilities funded initially, with future stages funded as the opportunities arise. This has been discussed with the Reserve Committee, who are in support of this concept. I believe this is a great opportunity, and it also highlights the ongoing hard work of our staff to continually look for opportunities for our community to advance its projects. There are so many moving parts to these projects, and the work required behind the scenes to even get to the application stage often goes unnoticed.
Thank you, Councillor Sproul. Councillor De Villiers, Councillor Lavella, would you like to speak to me?
You've covered it very well, Councillor Sproul. Funding is available across 5 streams, including indoor stadiums and aquatic facilities, community facilities, women's and girls' facilities, all abilities infrastructure and all abilities participation, which is fabulous sources for funding. Applications to fund opened in December 2023 and close on Wednesday, 27th of March. I think that might be tomorrow. Gosh, we've got to do this quick, don't we? Now, if successful, this will enable the much loved, absolutely much loved Maryborough Olympic Pool Complex, which has been closed to public since 2022 to be reopened for the community. And that is one wish I know the community would love to see, and including the renewal of the Delidio Recreation Reserve is another thing, another area, facility that Albert or Fleetwood Ward want to see open. So we can't say no to this. Thank you.
Thank you, councillor Lavella. Would any other councillors like to speak to this motion? If not, I'll put it to the vote. All those in favour? All those against? The motion is carried. Ms Little, could I ask you to councillor Murphy back in? Thank you.
I guess we will. Well, some classes it's different there.
Noting that councillor Murphy has rejoined the meeting at 6:36 p.m. Ms Little. Moving on to our next item, which is item 8.5, page 325 on our agenda, which is the draft advocacy strategy. Councillors, do I have someone to move?
Madam Mayor,
Councillor Meadows-Taylor, what's your motion, please?
I would be delighted to move the officer's recommendation that Council 1 adopt the advocacy strategy. 2, provide a copy of the advocacy strategy to our local, state and federal MPs and relevant ministers. And 3, continue to advocate for the improved services and infrastructure identified in the strategy through regular meetings with state and federal government representatives at relevant regional and industry forums and through other engagement opportunities and key decision makers.
Thank you, councillor Meadows-Taylor. Councillor, do I have a second, please? Councillor de Villiers. Councillor Meadows-Taylor, would you like to speak to your motion?
Thanks, Madam Mayor. Some years ago, I was actively involved for a few years with the MAB Future of Local Governance program. And even at that stage, that was before rate capping came in, it was quite clear that the future for councils, future for mayors, for councillors working with their officers, their CEO and officers, was on about advocacy, on about creating meaningful investment partnerships to enable the assets infrastructure investment. Rate capping has just simply added to the urgent need, as we know, as we're working through in our present budget deliberations. Now, we have a priority projects plan. We've had several versions of that, which we continue to update. And that's an exciting plan that identifies a range of our assets, our heritage assets, our town halls, our sporting precincts and facilities, other exciting heritage precincts and around the Shire. And that calls for and makes a business case for that investment. This document focuses less on that, but particularly on the other key areas, that is service provision. Because service provision is as critical to our community as those valuable and cherished assets that I mentioned. And you think about some of those, the key services that are important, and this report identifies them. Children and families, we've talked about earlier Go Goldfields and the early years. The critical role this council has over the years that Go Goldfields provided in relation to advocacy for that critical service of breaking the cycle of disadvantage in the early years. Jobs and industry recognise the need for skills training, but also the important services that our employees that come here and stay here will want, starting with their families, the early years, school services, education, medical services, housing and so on. But the skills training to support them, a range of services there. Digital connectivity, we know, is a critical issue. This council has been very, very successful through the Connecting Victoria scheme. It's a bit slow coming out, but it is coming out. But we've got 18 new mobile towers approved and digital broadband for Denali and Talbot. Transport connectivity, we've got our beautiful Berryborough station. We just need more services on it. And you've made the case, Madam Mayor, I know, for better connection in your part of the world in Flynn, and you've done some work personally in that area. Affordable housing, we know that's a key issue with our demographic. So there's a range of services, and that's an example of some critical view. Services and our assets go hand in hand. The priority projects plan continues to be a refreshed and critical document that we will advocate for. But so it is that we need to advocate for the services, the advocacy strategy, and congratulations to the CEO for pulling this together. This gives us a continued focus on those key services that are critical together with those assets. So by that continued focus both on assets and services, we will achieve the sorts of things working in partnership with our investors at Commonwealth and state level and other stakeholders. We will achieve and continue to achieve that success that we're known for. But we can't take our foot off the accelerator pedal. The need is urgent. A rate capping is pushing us into that even more. This takes us into the right forward step, and I think it will be a valued part of that arsenal of success in terms of the investment that this shire and our residents need. Thank you, Emily.
Thank you, Councillor Meadows-Taylor. Councillor de Villiers, would you like to speak to me?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I would just like to use this space to raise a concern that I have. When we were elected to council, we had a meeting in December 2020, where we as councillor group stated that the aerodrome is important to us as council, and we would like to see it developed as a vibrant asset. A business plan has since then been developed and adopted by council. And we've been on council now for 3 years as elected councillors, and not once has the aerodrome been raised or any as a potential item on the advocacy plan. And I would just like to, I believe that there are a lot more work to be done around the airport, and it would be great if that could be addressed at some stage.
Thank you, Councillor de Villiers. Would any other councillors like to speak? No, if not, I'll put it to the vote. All those in favour? All those against? The motion is carried. On to item 8.6, review of the road management plan on page 339. Councillors, do I have a mover for this? Councillor Sproul. Your motion?
Thank you, Mayor. I move the recommendation that council approve the draft road management plan 2024, the RMP, for the purposes of public consultation.
Thank you, Councillor Sproul. Do I have a seconder? So Councillor Lavella. Councillor Sproul.
Okay. The purpose of the road management plan is to establish a management system for the implementation of council's road management functions based on policy and operational objectives that are within the available resources. The road management general regulations 2016 require each council to review its road management plan during each term of council and make publicly available a written report summarising the findings and conclusions of the review. Our last review was in 2017. This review process identified areas where council could improve its management approach, including the alteration of inspection and defect response timeframes. These changes align with the Code of Practice for road management plans, whilst ensuring that management of the road network can be achieved within the level of resources available for the organisation. This plan is not just for council though, it also does set out owner obligations for things like nature strips, driveways and footpaths. But the report does Note that the previous road management plan included maps of the road network, but were identified as not being the correct place for that detail. So those maps will be added to the council's website for an information source for any interested community members.
Thank you, councillor Sproul. Councillor Lavella. Not much more than what you've had to say, councillor Sproul. We are a designated road authority. This was reviewed, as you said, in 2017. It's a long time ago. And no doubt there has been a great deal of changes. We need to endorse this recommendation.
Thank you, councillor Lavella. Any other councillors like to speak to the motion? Councillor Meadows-Taylor.
Thanks, Mayor. Mayor, you and I, Councillor Williams, all have rural wards, and we get lots and lots of complaints about roads. And that's understandable. We would love as councillors, as all councillors would in regional and rural councils across Australia, to spend a lot more on roads if only we could, if only we had the money, which we don't have. What I think people fail to understand is how rigorous the process is. We've got 1,213 kilometres of road. Each of those roads is classified in the road classification strategy. Each one of those has a particular level of care, a level of treatment, a carefully planned framework of response, of treatment, of repair, of review. And I think our residents often don't understand that. If we didn't do that, we would have absolute bedlam. We do the best we can, and the road management plan actually means that we can keep our roads, if not in the perfect state that we would love to, we keep them well, and what we do is we keep them in a balanced, coordinated and equal state, with safety always being a priority. And people who then, residents who put in inquiries, put in complaints, know that they will be considered, they will be assessed. They don't always get what they want, but they will be considered about the process. This gives us a process. This gives us a policy. Yes, it won't meet every need, it never will, but it's a fine thing, and we should be incredibly grateful for it, because without it, our roads would be in a lot worse system than they are. And it's because they maintain as well as they are, and it is due to this and this document and the work that goes behind creating it as it is. Thank you.
Thank you, councillor Meadows-Taylor. Any other councillors want to speak? Councillor Murphy.
Just thinking of what Councillor Meadows-Taylor is saying about the policy and about probably mayhem if you don't have something like this. It's important for us as councillors to have this, because you know where you're going, you know what's happening, and you can say this is where we are. We can't do much more than this. We are tight budgeted. We can't do much more than this. So when people come and talk to me about the roads, this road, and when it's going to be gravelled, when it's going to be this bitumen, when it's going to be that, we have a policy we go back to, and we can discuss with people. And now most people are very good on this. Some people just want what they want, but happy to have this, happy to use it as a tool for me as a councillor.
Thank you, councillor Murphy. Any other councillors want to speak to the motion? If not, I'll put it to the vote. All those in favour? All those against? The motion is carried. Our last officer report is 8.7 on page 395 of our agenda, which is the Daisy Hill Community Plan. Councillors, do I have someone to move the motion?
Madam Mayor, it's with delight that I move that council adopts the Daisy Hill Community.
Thank you so much, councillor Meadows-Taylor. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Murphy? Councillor Meadows-Taylor.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This plan is a little bit unusual in that it's followed the other plans that we had that were developed a few years ago and have been progressively revised. Daisy Hill missed out at that time, perhaps out of sight, out of mind, but I'm not sure. But I thank council for its willingness to include Daisy Hill. It's an important community, and the process was a very, very good one. Certainly our community engagement team and our manager, Kylie, did a wonderful job leading this. And I really congratulate the Daisy Hill Community Centre Committee of Management for their role in leading the community participation in this. Daisy Hill's different from a lot of our communities. It's a much newer community. It doesn't have the historical structures or committees or organisations that a lot of our communities have. And it's very much built around our community centre. And I know other supporting organisations and or so on that other communities have as their legacy. So the community centre forms a basis of community life, and the community centre committee has done a fine job in taking the initiative to provide community life, using the community centre to attract community events and to create a sense of community being, also helping support the viability of running the centre. So this plan builds and extends on that. It creates life and development and focus for that community. It's a fine document. It's an aligned document to the needs of Daisy Hill. It's been a good process right through, and I'm thrilled that it's come to an end, and the council can finally consider adopting it and putting it into implementation. Thanks, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Taylor. Councillor Murphy, would you like to speak to the motion?
It's a great little 5-acre blocks and great little communities. The community centre is really looked after. They do a great job. But out of mind, out. So Chris, Councillor Taylor, as you drive home, it's on the left-hand side, and it's just there. So just want to tell you where it is again. Out of mind, outside. It's over here.
Where it is.
Anyway, that's a good thing.
Thank you, Councillor Murphy. Anyone else would like to speak to the motion? Councillor Lawson.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. As I read the Daisy Hill Community Plan, the thought actually came across to me, and I think the point needs to be made that every section of Central Goldfields Shire is very important to us as councillors. And as such, their needs and their wants must be listened to by us. And this document, the Daisy Hill Community Plan, is a perfect example of that. And I congratulate all involved.
Thank you, Councillor Lovett. Anyone else want to speak to the motion? If not, I'll put it to the vote. All those in favour? All those against? The motion is carried. Item 9 on the agenda, councillor reports and general business. We have nil. Item 10, notice of motion. We have nil. And item 11, we have urgent business. Councillor Murphy is leaving the meeting for that. Councillor Murphy is leaving the meeting at 6:53 p.m. for the record.
I might resign.
Thank you.
Yeah, John.
I would now like to invite our General Manager, Infrastructure, Assets and Planning, Mr. Irving, to just give us an introduction what this is about. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm bringing before yourselves tonight an urgent business item, and it relates to contract G1872-23, Maryborough Sports and Leisure Centre pool retiling works. It relates to variations to this contract. I'm seeking tonight for this urgent business item to be considered around approval for variations, because at the moment we do not have financial delegation with the Chief Executive Officer to approve these variations, and that sit with the council. In terms of these variations, they're very important. As the works have progressed at the Maryborough Sports and Leisure Centre, when we've taken off the tiles, we've certainly uncovered some aspects of the pool shell which are structurally unsound and really need attention. And these were not unknown as we entered the works because of them being hidden with the with the tiles in place. So seeking for those to be considered tonight for yourselves as councillors. The reason though that we are bringing it as urgent business is if this was delayed to a future meeting, there's a potential that we could have project delays with an important facility being closed at the moment and then having longer closure period. And then even potentially greater cost to council should this be delayed in terms of approval of variations on a contract that is currently underway.
Yep, thank you, Mr. Irving. I just require a councillor to move a motion that we accept the urgent business.
They're happy to do so, I believe it meets requirements.
Thank you, councillor Meadows, and a seconder, please. Councillor Sproul, thank you very much. You don't wish to speak to your motion, I presume. All those in favour? Against? The motion is carried. I now ask councillor to move the actual report, the recommendation. Councillor Lovett, your recommendation is?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I would like to move that council authorise the Chief Executive Officer under delegation to approve final variations to contract G 1872-23, Maryborough Sports and Leisure Centre pool retiling up to an additional 15% of the total contract value of $89,941.50, including GST.
Thank you, councillor Lovett. Councillor, do I have a seconder for the motion? Councillor Lavella. Councillor Lovett, would you like to speak to your?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Quite simply, work on the retiling of the indoor pool is currently underway, and to avoid any unnecessary delays to the pool reopening, these variations need to be endorsed.
Thank you very much. Councillor Sproul, would you like to speak to the motion? Oh, sorry. Lavella, sorry.
Oh, just to say it's imperative that we get this right and let's work properly.
Thank you. Any other councillors want to speak to the motion? No? If not, I'll put it to the vote. All those in favour? All those against? The motion is carried. Item 12, there is no confidential business, and so I would now like to close the meeting. Thank you everyone for your attendance. Thank you virtual gallery. Thank you gallery. For those travelling home, please do so safely, and we'll see you next time. Thank you very much.